Thanks everyone for joining us as usual for our third webinar of the autumn series on court utilisation and programming. Before we start, as usual, I'll just introduce the team. You'll know all of them, but always good to do it just in case. So I'm Jamie Clewer, Head of Participation at Tennis Wales. I've got tonight with us for the first time on the autumn webinars. We've got Ellie Lewis, our Head of Coaching and Volunteering at Tennis Wales and the Participation team. So Ellie's expertise will be useful tonight when we talk around coaching contracts and relationships. So she'll be talking about that. And then as usual, we've got Luke and Pam, two of our participation development partners who helped me to grow and develop the sport here in Wales. So just in terms of housekeeping, as usual, we're more than happy for people to leave their cameras on. You can turn them off if you wish to. Just be mindful of broadband issues, so you may want to turn it off if you do have issues locally. Please now, whilst we started the webinar formally, just turn yourselves onto mute. That would be great. Obviously, you can come off mute at the end when we have discussion at the end. We are going to have a bit more of a detailed discussion tonight that Luke's going to lead at the end. So just mute for now, please. I'd be really grateful for background noise purposes. As usual, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and we'll pick them up at the end. And we'll follow up with, as you hopefully will know by now, some quite detailed information post-webinar as well. We'll be running a series of polls as usual. So Jamie's going to do his test poll as he always does. So here we go. Here's your test poll tonight. So please have a go at answering this one. We've got what is your favourite Grand Slam? And you've got the 4 to choose from. So please feel free to vote. I'll be very surprised if a certain one doesn't win, but we'll see. Okay, everyone's voted. I'll share the results. So we have a resounding win as expected for Wimbledon, 89%, and someone else who prefers the hard courts at Flushing Meadow. Very good. Right, so we will be doing a number of polls throughout the webinar as usual, which I'll be controlling. Okay, Luke, do you want to move on the slide, please? So as usual, also feel like Chris Whitty and ask Luke to move on the slide, so apologies for that, but it's just how we're managing the logistics. Okay, so in terms of what we'll cover tonight, first we're going to look at court utilisation, why this is important and how to calculate your own at your venue. We'll then run through the process of programming and some tips to help you review the quality of your own program at your venue or centre. Finally, we'll cover working with coaches, as there are several different models that clubs can adopt in terms of relationship with coaches. And it's important and vital in a lot of respects to pick the one that works for you in your situation. So provide some guidance on that. I mean, chatting to Ellie prior, there's a lot of detail and information we can provide around getting a beneficial and an efficient relationship in place, and we can probably do some follow-up on that, and we will do that if people want it, but we'll give an overview tonight and then we can do more detailed follow-up in due course. We've used example clubs throughout to illustrate some key points, so please don't make any direct comparisons to your own, and instead just look at how the principles apply in your own situation. Again, post-webinar we can help you with that if you have some live data and information you want us to look at. And as ever, for kind of more personalised support, then please speak to either myself, Luke or Pam, and particularly in a coaching context, please feel free to speak to Ali as well. Okay, next slide please, Luke. Okay, as with previous 2 webinars, just a case of setting the scene as usual. We've drawn out some key stats from the Clubhouse survey and some wider national trends. I have just sent out the latest round of club survey, so if you've got one, I'd be grateful if you could complete it. Quick plug there. So our Clubhouse survey shows that there is room for improvement again in this area in terms of court utilisation and programming, as in the other topic areas we've done previously. So a mean score of 3.5, as usual, with 5 being very healthy and 1 being very unhealthy. So yet again, what it tells us is, people aren't in a poor position, but actually venues are saying there's more we could do to improve our programme and our court utilisation. Hence why we're talking about it tonight. Also, the Google trend data there at the bottom saw a 19% increase in searches for tennis court near me. Again, a stat we've used a couple of times from January to July, year on year. So there's a big opportunity this year to capitalise on interest. And we know that participation trends will show generally in parks, in venues. I know there are exceptions, but tennis participation is significantly higher this year than it has been for a number of years, probably for 4 years. So we're in a positive situation. We've got to keep these new people in our sport and keep them happy. And again, 42% of our clubs say that court utilisation and programme is one of their top 3 priorities for the next 6 months. So developing a strategy to take advantage of the peaks and growth of interest in tennis enables clubs to be utilised to their fullest extent, to use the facilities, the courts that you've got to the fullest extent to drive revenue and grow your club. So that's it from me. I'm going to hand over to Luke, and he's going to start to talk about court utilisation and why it's important and how you can measure it.
Well, thank you, Jamie. Good evening, everyone. So yeah, we're just going to cover the topic of court utilisation, and it's a key piece of information that's needed to assess the health of your club, and if monitored regularly, it can inform key decisions around how the courts are used at your venue. As well as programmed activity, clubs should consider how else the courts are utilised and whether there are opportunities to fill empty court time to generate additional revenue, such as pay and play, use for casual players. We've developed a simple utilisation tool to help you monitor your monthly and annual usage. This tool can use ClubSpark booking data to help calculate your utilisation, and with over 1,300 clubs using the online booking module in the UK in the last month, this tool obviously could work for them if they're not obviously taking advantage of it at the moment. If you don't already use online court bookings, we highly recommend doing so to make it easier for members and non-members to easily book and play at your venue. Before I demonstrate the tool, it's important just to say that the purpose of this webinar is not to answer obviously any ClubSpark specific questions, but if you do have any questions around ClubSpark or have issues you'd like to feedback, please pick this up with either myself or Pam after today's webinar. So I'm just going to demonstrate the tool for you. So I'm just going to share my screen. So hopefully you should all be able to see that. So this interactive tool will help your club calculate both monthly and annual court occupancy. So to start with, you would need to enter some basic information about your club on the court booking analysis tab, which is what I'm on at the moment. You'll see the bottom there. So there's loads of tabs, which starts off with home, which is a bit of introduction information, the court booking analysis, which is the page we're on now, and then you'll see there's a tab for each month, and we'll cover that bit in a bit more detail shortly. So to start with, you need to enter the basic information in terms of the court opening times and closing times. And obviously what we've used in this example, as you can see, is a 3-court club, but I've got 2 floodlit courts. So you'll see we've adjusted the hours available on the 3rd non-floodlit court to reflect obviously the daylight times throughout the year. This then populates the hours available per court and then per month. And next, what we need to then do once we've got this information is export the data from ClubSpark. So for this example, let's say we want to review October's court utilisation. So we simply click on the October tab, which I'm going to go down here. And it brings, this is the same on every page for each month, for example. And what we'll need to do is get the court booking data from ClubSpark and paste it into here to generate our court utilisation figures. So I'm just going to show you how we do that. So I'm just going to create a new share. Here we go. So this is a test site, so this is dummy data, for example, to use in the system. So what you'll notice in ClubSpark, we go into the booking module, which you'll see there. We select the dates that we want to do a search for the court booking. So in this instance, we've gone from the 1st of October to the 31st of October, and then it'll give us a list of all our bookings. You can filter these in here between free, paid, etc. But what we want is all bookings, whether they're paid or free, because we want a general picture of total court utilisation. So we simply, once we put our dates in, and it brings up the data, we tick this box over by here next to the first name, which selects all the bookings. And to export it, you'll see there's 3 buttons up here. We need the middle button by there, and it allows us to export it as a PDF or a CSV. We'll use a CSV, which basically puts it into a spreadsheet format. And once we click that, it will download in the background. We're just going to wait for that to download, which you'll see in the bottom left here. And once that then is available, you'll open that data. So if I go to a new share. So this is the data you'll see in here. So obviously there's no names in there just for GDPR purposes, just dummy data, but what it will give you is the date, the time bookings. This is for every individual booking that's made during that monthly period. Now, for those of you that currently already offer pay and play, you would see bookings here that would say paid and the cost income here. I know in the dummy data, it's basically all free court bookings if it's just a members only environment. So what we need to do with this data, we simply highlight, not the top row, but from row 2, all the data in here. We then copy that. And then we need to take that data now back to the court utilization tool. So I'm going to go back to a new share. We'll go back to the tool, which is here. So we're back in the October tab where we left it. And we literally, in row number 3 under the shaded columns here, we literally just highlight it, paste the data. And what you'll notice here is the total core hours booked and booking income are populated automatically because they're set formulas. Okay.
Luke, we're still on the Excel spreadsheet at the moment.
Right, 2 seconds. Let me just stop that share a second. And we'll do a brand new share. And we'll go to Utilisation tool, share. Okay, can you see that now?
We can, thanks, well done.
Brilliant, okay, thank you. Yeah, so we basically just paste the data into October and then it populates here the total core hours booked. So 450.5 for that month, for example. And if you had any pay and play bookings, income you generated that month, it would actually also show that here. Now, where it's important, this actually then takes that data and puts it back to the course analysis tab here, where we started. And you'll notice as we scroll down that in the October column, it's now populated all the formulas. So the number of court hours available at 1178, that was automatically taken from the data here in the yellow fields that we entered at the start. But it's now put in the 450.5 court hours booked. It would show the total income there if we had any total income. But then below, which is the key figure, court utilization for that month was 38%. So basically what that's telling you is your courts were booked for 38% of its total availability for that month. Utilization will alternate month to month, and you'll probably see much higher utilization in summer months in the peak season than the winter. But every club differs. Clubs with large membership, but maybe with only 3 courts, quite often can be full all year round. And it's also going to be dependent on, you know, have you got floodlights on the majority of your courts, etc. So you can carry out this exercise on a month-by-month basis, and it'll give you obviously an annual total as well. And once you've completed this, there's also further guidance and advice on the final tab. You'll see the support and guidance in here, which is also useful. If you need any support using this, obviously after the webinar, we will follow up for the next couple of days with all the relevant resources and for you to have a go at using this. But if you do need any support, then obviously just give us a nod and speak to myself, or Pam will be happy to help you. So I'm just going to stop that share a second. That's a sharing screens this evening. And we will go back to our slides. Fab. And I'll pass you back up to Jamie for our first official poll.
Thanks, Luke. That's great. I mean, that was a really good talk through as well of the thing. I couldn't have done that in that detail and clarity. So well done. It must feel at times, I imagine, that we do very hard plug Club Spark as a really useful tool. But I think those of you that have been on the 2 or 3 webinars we've run, very much so tonight, will see that the system does really have some tools that can really help you run your facility and your venue and maximize the potential of that site. So it is very much something that we do advocate and we very passionately believe will really improve your experience at your venue. Luke is very much, he's very shy, he won't take my praise, but he is an expert at Club Spark. So any queries you have around Club Spark, then we all can help, but no one can help as well as Luke. So please do feel free to get in touch with him. He really does understand the system and will help you no end. Right, the first poll then is just a little bit around that. So I will launch this now, find the right one. And there we go. Hopefully you've got that now. So do you use Club Spark or another online booking system? I know in some cases people will use other systems. That's absolutely fine. Do you currently monitor your own court utilization? And then if you don't, or you do even, would you use the LTA court utilization tool, having just seen it? And of course we can give you more detail on that another time to support you. Okay, end the polling there then, if everyone's had a go. Looks like they have. Share the results. So preaching to the converted. Everyone uses Club Spark on the webinar one. Done the job. Luke, you can retire. There's no payoff though. In terms of monitoring your court utilisation, we're around about 50-50. So 57% are saying that they do, 43% saying that they don't. But then in terms of using the court utilisation tool, the LTA one, you know, again, 6 of the 7 venues represented saying that they would do, which is great to hear. It's actually, in fairness, I'll admit, the first time I've seen it, but it seems very user-friendly and something I would definitely use if I was in your position. Great, so I'll stop the share of those results. Close that down so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I will now hand over to Pam, who's going to talk to you about programming. Now you understand the court utilisation. Pam's going to talk to you about how you effectively program. Over to you, Pam.
Okay, so we're just going to have a look through what a good club looks like. Some of you may recognise this slide as an image from a club forums we did last year, and it was part of one of the group exercises that we did. So we're going to look a little bit more in detail about the players that surround it. This is just for illustration purposes, so it's an example of a medium-sized club. And basically a comprehensive programme activity sits at the heart of any well-run facility, as it ensures the members are engaged regardless of their reasons for playing. A good programme is inclusive and caters for all the various categories of member and player, which may vary depending on the type of club and the location that you sit in. So understanding your members and players. In our Growing Your Membership webinar, which we've done in the last month, we looked at the different types of members and their motivations for playing. We categorized each of whom have common characteristics and motivations for playing the game. Within these sessions, we went into detail on the six different LTA reports and finds resources and marketing resources that you can use to access this information already. Please ask us to give you the link to the video of the webinar, and then we can follow up with the local tools specific to your venue through myself and Luke. For the club that we've outlined in the example, when we analysed their membership, it told us that it was mainly made up of tennis titans, tennis troopers and senior stalwarts. If you're unfamiliar with any of these sort of segments and want to find out more, there's a really useful guide on the LTA website, which is the self-service guide for growing your membership, and it goes into a lot of detail on what these specific groups and users want and how they find out about tennis and how they can access programs. Okay, by understanding the motivations of the members, in this instance, we're going to be looking at tennis titans, tennis troopers and senior stalwarts. You can put sessions on the session that they want, as well as the days and the times that work for them as an individual or as a family. So the first one up is the tennis titans. They have tennis as their main sport, and the needs are met through competitive tennis, including internal, external leagues and team sessions. They're far less likely to go to group coaching sessions, but they may take part in individual sessions if they want to work on something specific. So these are the types of players and what they're looking to do. Next up, it's the tennis troopers. They're normally families with primary age children who come to weekly coaching sessions. They'll be looking for sessions for their children, as well as casual beginner improvement group sessions for themselves, both of which need to be scheduled at a time that fits them around school and work. They're generally busy people. They're looking for online booking journeys to make it easy for them to find out what's going on and book on and get involved. But they are looking for membership, but they're also looking at that online journey to help them stay in tennis. And the next group, the senior stalwarts, we find this in a lot of our clubs across Wales. They're late working age, retired people who have tennis as part of their life and exercise routine. They will be interested in sessions that combine tennis with social. So nothing too serious or strenuous, and perhaps the opportunity for drinks afterwards. There may be also opportunities to engage with other social groups of this demographic who have never considered tennis before, but who are looking to enjoy physical activity. So we're now going to look at some of the segments for this club that live locally, but they're not currently members of the club. Again, we looked at the local population surrounding our example club, and we found a lot of Wimbledon Warriors and seasonal spinners. These players are likely to be non-members looking for casual access to tennis. So programming some relevant activity may attract more people to your club. Wimbledon Warriors are largely young men who are keen athletes. They like tennis and they want to play more, but they're often held back by factors outside of the summer period. So they're generally looking around that Wimbledon buzz, wanting to get involved during the summer. These type of people want to easy access a tennis, book a court or book a coaching session. They may be one-off sessions, not sort of 6-week blocks. So pay and play is a great way to attract these types of people to your club, generating additional income during quiet court time. And then we've got the seasonal spinners, largely young women, play sport in general for athletic reasons, often gym goers or joggers. They enjoy their tennis a lot, though tennis is very intertwined with friends and being social. They will look at the program offers such as cardio tennis or adult beginners and improvers. These two segments are potentially convertible into club membership if the offer is right, but they're probably not going to join outright membership straight off. So if you can attract them to the club through pay and play access or a suitable coaching offer, and then you communicate with them in the right way, you're probably going to expose them to life within the club and then ease them into club membership if the offer is right. Yeah, so for example, a trial membership of some description. So taking all these users into account, your existing club members, maybe how you attract new members, you need to consider all these things when you're building your program. If you add up all this activity, you start to create your weekly program. So this is the example of the weekly court schedule for our example club. We would recommend that any club, any size, creates this to have a better understanding of what happens at the club from week to week. When putting together the schedule, it's important that clubs' coaches work closely together to ensure they're delivering the right programs, competitions and products that engage with the club's target market. There is no point in putting on an extensive program of activity if there's little or no demand for it. And it also takes us back to the first exercise around monitoring your court utilisation. If you don't keep track of this figure and how it changes throughout the year, it's hard to know if you can accept more members, add more coaching sessions, or what court time to release as dead time for potentially pay and play access. As you can see, the navy blue boxes are suggested pay and play times. We advise that any unused court time can be used to sell to non-members because this will allow the club or your facility to generate additional income. Many venues in Wales this year have seen huge success from selling dead court time, and we've got a number of case studies on our website. So we've got Bangor, Neath and Cowbridge that have really looked to sort of add this offer of pay and play usage, but they've also seen a good conversion rate to membership. So it is very much a stepping stone into what the club has to offer on a day-to-day basis. So if you do already offer pay and play or you would like to, please get in touch with myself or Luke, and we can sort of guide you through that process. But having bookings allows you to be on the LTA Rally system, which is our national court booker and finding tool. Once you set up your ideal program, it's important to review and evolve the schedule regularly to ensure the opportunities are maximised and members and players are satisfied with the service provided. If you don't know how to do this, I think last week we ran a membership retention webinar, and there were lots of hints and tips on sort of making sure you have the right programs on offer to cater for your membership as it goes through its journey. So we can send you the links for that video as well. So I'm now going to hand you back to Jamie to start our second poll.
Thanks, Pam. Okay, the second poll then will just reflect on the information Pam's given you. So I'll launch that now. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So we're looking at, do you know the profile of your members that you've currently got? Honestly, do you think that your program caters for your members and the different types of people or family groups that you've got at your venue? And then kind of leading into our next section, I guess, is do you work with your coach on developing and planning your program at your venue? I'm going to go at answering those. Okay, I think that's everyone. Let's take us off. Just end the poll and share the results. Okay, so good to see that. I think we've done a lot of work on this, and I know venues have attended various webinars now and early in the year. So it's good to see that most people do profile their members and do understand who they are and what they do. 78% there. Do you think your program caters for your members? Again, a positive response, which is really good. 2/3 there saying that they do, 67%. And then do you work with your coach developing the program? That's fantastic to see. 90% of venues are saying that they do, which is great. Fantastic. So I'll just stop the share of those results. Okay, for this last section then, I'm going to hand over to Ellie, who's just going to talk to you about arrangements and specifics around relationships with coaches and venues. So over to you, Ellie.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, we're going to look at working effectively with coaches, and it's great to see so many on the call tonight. As a lot of the program of activity will be coaching based at clubs, the club management or club committee or club manager should work closely with the head coach and coaching team, as both parties benefit from a successful program. As you can see here, the benefits of that are coaches helping to recruit new members from the coaching program, clubs promoting the coaching program to existing members, coaches help retain members through the program of activity, and armed with this insight, the club and coach are able to undertake joint and marketing and promotion of the coaching program, creating professional, relevant campaigns whilst reducing costs and duplication. There are a variety of different coaching models that you can use in which the club can work with a coach to design and deliver a coaching program. The following sections we're going to look at are going to highlight the pros and cons of the 3 coaching agreements that are used across Great Britain. This may also provide new ideas for restructuring or reviewing existing agreement models. We recommend that the model that your club uses is written down in a contract. Templates are available on the LTA website, and the support through Pam, myself, and Luke is available as well. So if we can move to the next slide, Luke, that would be great. So we're going to look at 3 models. So model A, so is where the club runs the coaching program. So this model is most often used in larger clubs which have the capacity and the skills to administer a large coaching program. Head coach or tennis managers are usually employed by the clubs, and the salaries are deducted from the income from the coaching program. The club seeks or has professional expertise in setting up contracts with coaches in relation to PAYE and tax issues. Benefits of this is that the club can have a significant profit can be generated to invest back into facilities. There are risks though. Coaches can be demotivated on fixed rates or salaries. This needs careful management, regular reviews, incentives, bonus schemes, etc. Small, medium clubs in the majority of cases should avoid this model, mainly due to reduce the administration burden on volunteers and allow freedom for coaches to earn from their business. And also for small, medium clubs, this model can carry risk to volunteers and coaches, particularly if you choose not to employ, because it could be an issue with HMRC on deemed to having an employed relationship where employment isn't actually occurring. So that's model A. So we're going to move on now, Luke, thank you, to model B, which is the self-employed relationship with a coach or a sole trader. Most commonly used at small and medium-sized clubs where the coach runs all coaching administration and takes the income for doing so. The club relationship with the coach is that of a self-employed provider of a service, or as some as you might know, a provision of services contract. The club gains income from the coach paying fees or rent to use the courts, like a business would pay a landlord for renting the premises to use to earn money. The income generated by the club is placed into the sinking fund as the coach and club agree that the coaching program contributes to the wear and tear of the court. The club is free from administration, but needs to ensure the relationship with the coach is reciprocal in terms of data management. For example, the club promote the coaching program on their database, and the coach promotes membership on their database. The coach can be incentivized to grow the membership through a reduction in the court rent if members sign up to the membership from the coaching program. There's lots of different ways to incentivize on that model. If we move to the next one, Luke, please.
Yeah.
And the last model, which is self-employed relationship with a coaching company, for example, a limited company. Similar to model B, this is used in small to medium-sized clubs that often can't justify having one coach in their own right. Therefore, they share the coaching services with other clubs the coaching company works with. This can work really well in rural areas. The club relationship with the coach is that of a self-employed provider of service, so that provision of service contract again. The club gains income from the coach paying fees or rent for the use of courts. There can be a capacity issue in this model if the club wants the coaches to deliver at the same time in all clubs. And be aware that it may not be always possible for the coaching company to provide the same coaches each week. Good communication is essential to provide this. It is essential for the coach and the reciprocal in data management. The club promote the coach into their database and the coach promote the membership. The coaches can be incentivized again to grow membership through a reduction in court rent or other areas as well. It's worth speaking to your PDP, which is Pam or Luke, about the structure of your club, the legal structure, as we recommend that a coaching agreement is between the coach and the club, not an individual committee member. The LTA Legal and Tax Helpline Brabners is also available as a free service to receive legal advice on coach agreements and club legal structures. Jamie's now going to start our third poll of the evening.
Okay, so the third poll then just reflects on information Ellie's given there, just interested in your current situation. So I'll launch the polling now. So the 3 questions we've got is, which model do you currently use at your club? So A, the club runs the coaching program. B, it's a self-employed relationship with a coach who may be a sole trader or self-employed. Or then C, it's a self-employed relationship with a coaching company, e.g. a limited company. And then the second question is, do you currently have a contract with your coach, yes or no? Does your coach currently contribute to the sinking fund through court fees or rent? It's the third question. And then 4, do you anticipate contacting us for any further support? Because this is an area we do envisage people may want some help. I'll give you a few minutes just to digest those, because it's the biggest poll I think we've done in 3 weeks, 4 questions, but it's quite an important one. Okay, I think all our guests have responded. Okay, so sharing the results now. You can hopefully see them. So which model do you use at your club? We've got a spread here. The predominant one is B, self-employed relationship with a coach as a sole trader. But we do have the 2 other arrangements here to see. Do you currently have a contract with your coach? A fair split, so 56% yes, 44% no. I do feel that's something that the 4 that don't, I think we'd be keen to work with you to understand the situation and then support you to get an appropriate relationship in place to protect you and also the coach. Fairness very much about that, but then that gives you the opportunity to develop your program along the lines we've just said. So please do follow up if you wish to on that one. Does the coach currently contribute to sinking funds through court fees or rent? Okay, interesting to see the vast majority no don't at 78%. Only 2 do. And then, are you looking for further support? Okay, again, a clear split, around 50% want to. So please do follow up on this one. I know we do often say that, but this is an area where I do think we can offer support via Ellie and the PDP. So that's one we will follow up ourselves as well. So I'll stop sharing the results there. Close that down on my computer. Okay, so we're drawing towards the end now. So in summary, we've covered 3 main topics on court utilisation and programming and working with your coach. To put this into some actions to take back to your club, we've captured the 3 key takeaways as we always do. So the first one is to calculate your own court utilisation if you don't already do so. and where relevant, the pay and play income as well. We've shown you the LTA tool that you could use if you wish to. So please do revisit that and have a look at that, and we remain on hand to help with using that if you need it. Off the back of that, please do review or revisit your weekly TANIS program again and see and make sure it does cater for your members, and again we can advise on that one. And then finally, do just think about revisit your coaching arrangements. Think about whether they work for you as a venue. Think about whether they work for you as a coach. I know I've got a number of coaches on the call. And then understand, what model you use, and actually is that the most efficient and effective model for you as a venue or as a coach? And is there a better way of working? And again, as I said before, we are more than happy to help with finding the best arrangement for you. And I recognise that you may have an existing relationship that can't change for a period of time because it's contractual. But again, just something to think about moving into the future when you do come to the point when you may be reviewing your coaching contract or your relationship with a venue if you're the coach as well, of course. So as I've said before, and today's very much an overview of these three important areas. I think we've done a little bit more detail today than the first two, and it feels much more applicable and hands-on, which is good. But again, as we've said a number of times, please do speak to one of the team if you require further support. And in particular to talk about the circumstances of your club, because we have used some very broad, generic examples today. And there'll be specifics that we can support you with. Okay, the final poll then is just the usual feedback piece, so please be honest. Just in terms of how useful you found today. So I'll just launch that now. So if you found today's session useful and informative, and then in terms of the topic areas, which have you found most useful, if you could just provide us some feedback. It's useful for us, we pass it on to the LTA and it helps us shape future support and future sessions. Okay, I think everyone's voted. I won't go for the results on that one, but we'll certainly look at them in detail. Good to see a spread there at the bottom around the areas that have been useful as well. But thanks for that. Close that down. Okay, so coming to the end now, as I said, thanks for dialing into the webinar. As I said, we'll collect all the answers and the poll results and the questions that we may have now at the end, and we'll come back to you with the information via loop that we usually do, including the presentation slides. And that'll be the next couple of days. As I've said on numerous occasions, please do get back in touch with one of us if you need support in particular areas. Certainly Luke and Pam from a venue perspective, the court utilisation tool, certainly go to Luke. Pam spoke a lot about the membership areas and their focus areas. I always speak to Pam on that one. And then Ellie, particularly on coach relationships as well. So come to one of us and we'll point you in the right direction.